What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Collab Together podcast. I am your host, Todd Scorpio, my co-host, Deception. Deception, say hi.
What up?
This is episode 120. If you guys are wondering why I sound in such pain and kind of like I'm crying, because I'm low-key am, because I just did a Carolina Reaper jelly bean as part of the challenge I'm doing with my stream, and then, I got gifted subs to do another one before the podcast. So please bear with me as I, oh, this thing's hot. It's hot. It's spicy. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about on this
She's not
episode.
crying because of spice. She's crying because XDefiant's dead.
Yeah, that too. I mean, that actually kind of, yeah, low key. That plays a factor in it, but the main reason, god damn, I can't speak. The main reason, oh my god. But the main reason is because of that. So please bear with me as I am, my mouth is on fire. Danner Duck, let's go. My mouth is definitely on fire right now, so my apologies in advance. Hopefully it calms down sooner rather than later. So yeah, let's talk about XDefiant first, as I'm already emotional about the situation. Holy hot. Okay, I'm pulling it up. Oh god, I can't function. I'm like, I need to get it. I'm like, it's rough. I need to get a tissue. Deception, you take this over while I go get a tissue, because I need one bad. Okay, hold on. Deception, you read.
So basically, as Tone is going to get a tissue because she's having it rough over here. Anybody who's a fan of XDefiant has probably had it rough over the last couple days because XDefiant is effectively dead now. The server is shut down. As of recording this, it was yesterday, but as of anytime somebody comes to watch this, it was June 3rd is when the servers went down.
2025.
It's a sad day.
Yeah. That's why I needed the tissue, because I'm crying, because XDefiant's done. Honestly though, like, did you read this or no? Or did
No.
you kind of, okay. I'll read it through.
I was
for
prefacing it.
Oh, okay. I'll read it through, as I'm a great reader. And it'll probably be more entertaining. It's a sad day for fans of XDefiant and for all the passionate devs that work so hard on this game. I want to thank everyone who played it and to everyone who promoted it. Whether you're a big content creator or just a fan, every voice mattered. In fact, I would say something remarkable happened with this game, and that although we had very little marketing, we still had the fastest acquisition of players in the first few weeks for an Ubisoft title, just from you guys all talking about and promoting the game. But unfortunately, with little to no marketing, especially after launch, we weren't acquiring new players after the initial launch. Sorry, my mouth is still on fire. We had other issues, though, as well, that we tried to be transparent about. For one, we had a crippling tech debt. Am I saying that right? Tech debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Using an engine that was designed for what we were doing. And we didn't have the engineering resources to ever correct that. I do personally think that in-house engines are not the valuable investment that they used to be. And they are often doomed to fall behind big engines like Unreal. This tech debt included the dreaded netcode issues that we could not solve given the architecture we were dealing with. And so, for many players with solid network connections and both speed and consistent reliability, the game played well, but if your connection had the even smallest amount of inconsistency, the engine just couldn't handle it and you would have a bad experience. Normally, you would be able to weather these bad moments on your network, but this was a major issue with XDefiant. Another issue we had was having the right resources to make content for the game. What we saw at Season 3 wasn't even enough content in my mind for launch. There were some really cool features coming later in Season 4 or even 5 that would have completed the game in a way that I felt it should have been before launch. I can say that everyone's, devs, HQ leadership, etc., heart was in the right place, but we just didn't have the gas to go the distance for a free-to-play game. So again, I want to praise and salute all the devs that worked on XDefiant. The cards were heavily stacked against you, but you managed to produce a really fun and terrific game. And I like to call it out every time I talk about it, but I think our maps were some of the best maps ever made for an arcade shooter. So congrats to everyone for what they accomplished. I also think we made a decent impact in the space. We saw a lot of reactions from other games to what we were doing, and that speaks to me volumes. That to me speaks volumes. Sorry. I'm really sorry we couldn't quite deliver and maintain this game for a longer time. In case everyone doesn't know, the team behind XDefiant was all let go at the end of last year, and I know many people have moved on to other studios, which is great, and I hope that for all those still looking, that they find something quickly. As for me, I've decided to leave the industry and spend more time with my family, so unfortunately, you won't be hearing about me making another video game. I do care passionately about the shooter space and hope that someone else can pick up the flag that I was trying to carry and make games again that care about the players, treat them with respect, and listen to what they have to say. Thank you again to everyone who had so much passion for XDefiant. So, that was a lot. But as you guys know, we have been following XDefiant on this podcast since pretty much crippling tech deck. Deception, get out of here. Making fun of me. Get out of here, I just saw that. It has been, it's been a very long process. I mean, we've been following it since Deception was able to talk about it. He was one of the, alpha testers of the game. He had to, sign, an NDA and everything, so we've kind of been in this XDefiant world for 4 years now, I guess, essentially, yeah. Beginning of 2021. Yeah. Well, this time around 2021, yeah. So for 4 years now, we've been in this XDefiant realm, following the game, giving updates just whenever we can on the podcast. So, I mean, this is kind of closing the book, really, on the game for us on our show. So thank you, XDefiant, for being a source of good times, and just a game that really cared. They really did care about what the players wanted. I mean, there were some things that were just the now knowing about the whole engine differentiation, about it not being on an engine that was meant for arcade shooters, it makes sense why those issues were popping up and the game kept getting delayed and delayed. It's very frustrating as a player to not, be able to put... Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm getting the post-spicy burps. My bad. Trying to have a very serious conversation over here, anyway. I just burped. Hold on. Deception, you're gonna have to take over. I just burped it back up in my mouth. It was so gross.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of insane that this game was built on an engine that wasn't even designed for shooter games. And they still made a game as good as they made it. Honestly, I think that makes XDefiant a pretty impressive, incredible feat that they made a shooter game as good as they made it, as good as that game was, even with all its problems, on an engine that wasn't even built to make shooter games.
Yep.
It just makes me wonder, that whole concept of them being in so much tech debt just makes me wonder what the game could have been if they would have ran Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
If they could have built it on Unreal Engine.
I mean, honestly, they probably would have made that first fall release date, because that was the main issue of them not releasing, was the netcode problems. I know there's probably a couple of other issues that they wanted to get solved before launch, but that was the biggest one. And they probably could have released on that initial release date, and that is a reason why a lot of people, a lot of the hype lost for the game. because of
I mean, they
that.
probably could add more content for it too.
Yeah, they
Because
could
like,
have.
if you think about it, it was almost like if they would have released when they wanted to, it would have still been like 2 years after the first time we got to play the game.
Yeah, and like they would have had, even if the game lasted as long as it did, like if it's still like the server's closed today, it would have had another because it was late May, and it was
It
supposed
would
to
have.
come
We're
out
talking like with
September.
the way it released on May 21st of 2025, and the initial Mark Rubin said he initially wanted to release it in August of 2024.
Yeah. So it would have gotten an extra 4 plus 9 months.
It's like 10 months.
9-10 months. The game would have gotten, even if. Oh my god, these burps are nasty. Sorry guys, I apologize. It's just bringing up the taste again, and I'm having like
I mean,
war
you're looking at an
flashbacks.
extra. If it launches in August, you're looking at an extra 3 seasons.
Yeah, of content, or just like, like it got so much hype over that summer with the beta. I feel like if they were actually able to release that August, it would have, like, the game would have stayed huge, especially with the
Well, he
bad
talks about the
spot that.
content too, and it was like, I felt like honestly, and I mean, the way it released, I wasn't mad about the way it released in terms of not having a lot more content than we had in the beta. But I honestly like, I would not be surprised if his full intention was for it to be like, beta was exactly what it was, but then launch was going to be like what it ended up being plus 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah. I think.
But like, obviously, they had a lot of issues to fix in like after the beta, and they probably couldn't focus on any content, to be honest,
No.
because of that.
I mean, not even like considering the beta, like not the beta, not even considering like the content aspect of it, like, with just like timing wise, it would have been right before the new Call of Duty, right? People would have, taken a break, played the new Call of Duty, but at that point, MW3 was not that great at the beginning. Like, people, there's the typical like 3-4 week COD grind where everybody's playing Call of Duty. It's like the main thing, whatever. But then the hype dies off for a minute, and then people go back to the games that they were playing before, and then everyone would have gone back to XDefiant because it's still that shooter game. It's just different. It's not. They would have got tired of that. Yeah, I mean, they would have, because they're tired of the SBMM being so tight, and they're tired of the cheaters and everything like that, and they go over to XDefiant, and that's not an issue. So they could have kept it in beta for a little bit.
I mean, like, if they would have had the prestige system up by then, it's like, at the time, MW3 was still doing seasonal prestige, and we didn't even know that Black Ops 6 was going to have, like, prestiges that stuck throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
So, like, if XDefiant would have had that, I mean, there's just every reason for everybody to go play XDefiant over COD at that point.
They could have kept it in beta for a little bit, and it might have saved it, in my opinion. Honestly, I think if they just had it, like, playable, like, even like the way that like Splitgate 2 is, I just think the netcode issue was just so bad, because like people just couldn't play if their network was bad. Like, if their network wasn't like Deception's network, they just cannot play. So like me,
it was like
the broke people of the world.
It was, the thing about the netcode too is like they couldn't have known that the netcode would be as bad as it was, because up until the beta, when they made it open, the netcode was fine, but that's because we were playing with a lot less players.
Yeah.
Like, all the tests that we did, all the way up until the beta, there were 0 netcode issues. So it threw me off so bad when the beta went open, and then all of a sudden the netcode is just horrible. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, like, everything's different, like, especially like with the volume too. Like, that definitely, like, it tests the server strength and everything like that as well.
Yeah.
And I just see a lot
I
of
remember, like, during the beta when they first made it open, for probably like 24 to 36 hours, you couldn't really get in the game because so many people were trying to get in there.
Yeah. Yeah, like the queue and everything. I think that there's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of buts. There was a lot of maybes. But overall, I think, it was a great game. Um, I think it kind of
Yeah.
he was right. It did make a lot of games rethink a lot of things to bring back
I
their.
mean, we might. I mean, obviously, all this stuff was probably planned out. Um, all this stuff might have been planned out in the past, like, but if you think about it, if XDefiant doesn't, if Mark Rubin isn't pushing so hard for no skill based matchmaking, if he's not pushing so hard for like prestiges that are permanent, we probably don't get permanent prestiges in Black Ops 6. They probably don't start talking about skill based matchmaking during MW3. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it started a lot of conversations. I mean, that's the thing though, is like big games like that Call of Duty that we just like everybody's been playing for decades. They need competition, they need competition. They need someone to be like, to kind of check them because or not, they're just gonna do whatever they want to do. Kind of the same thing with COD on Warzone. They didn't have the server longevity for the influx of people playing. Sadly, servers kill games now. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many people playing these games at the same time, and a lot of the times, like especially like smaller games when they don't expect that big, shoot up of players, it makes it hard for people, and people aren't really patient. We live in an age where people, they have 7,000 million options to do. I know that's not actually a real way to say a number, but anyway, they have hundreds of options to occupy their time, and they're probably not gonna wait for a game when they can just go play something else instead, just because servers. So I mean, the real ones
well,
will
and at the
wait.
same time, it's like you have. I mean, obviously, these companies and these devs are trying to be a business, so they probably do a bunch of calculations on like how many people are going to play, where are they going to be playing, so like they know how much money to spend on servers
Yeah,
and like the whole networking and all that.
yeah.
But like I feel like I feel like there should be a little bit more leeway in account for that though,
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of these games like when Warzone blew up and XDefiant and like Splitgate initially when it blew up, it's like they had everything ready for the amount of players they already had, but they weren't prepared for the game to explode. So like when it did, it was like, oh, the servers are dead now.
Yeah. I
They
mean, the
can't
thing.
handle it.
Yeah, I mean, like nobody really. I mean, people hope for it, but they don't. They don't expect it. They hope for it, but they don't expect it.
Yeah.
Especially like servers that cost money, and they don't want to spend money on something that they're not going to use. So it's like, this, that, and the third. And people do really want that instant satisfaction. If they don't get it, they'll find it. So I don't know. I think with what we got from that game, they did the best that they could, and it was great. I mean, they really did not have a lot of marketing around the game. It was all just word of mouth from creators and just people. I know I put a lot of people on the game. I know Deception put a lot of people on the game. Um, just because we loved the game. It was good. It was fun.
Yeah. I mean, I said that I should have an equity stake in the dev team for as
Literally,
many
dude.
people as I put onto the game.
Yeah, you were like it's one of its big pushers, and to see it all kind of come to an end. I mean, I really enjoyed the time we put into XDefiant. I mean, we were gonna have like a whole team. I was part of putting together some leagues initially. They never really got out of infancy because of how the game went, but um we really invested a lot in this game because we believed in it, and it sucks to see that it's gone. Um, but I mean, it really just sets the stage for someone else. X Defiant walked so some other game can run. I don't quite know what that game is yet. Honestly, Splitgate 2 is kind of getting in there with the shooters.
I was gonna say it could be Splitgate too,
I
because
mean,
they've kind of like they've done some things that have been down X Defiant's alley as far as what they were working on.
they've got some good maps. They've got, good gameplay. I mean, the game's improved substantially since the first one. And and it's free to play too, and there's not like that severe skill-based matchmaking. And so I think if anyone's going to contend with and continue on the road that XDefiant did, I think Splitgate is that one. I just think it just needs a little push from the Courage JDs of the world, you know, the top percentage of the streamers, you know, get Kai Cenat on that game. And honestly, it they have the foundation to welcome that sort of longevity, especially being like a free to play game. But goodbye, XDefiant. We love you over here at the Climb Together podcast and at Scorpion Syndicate and everywhere. The potential that game had was through the roof, and it's a real shame that we didn't get past season 3. Really.
Yeah, even like with me playing, I came back and played like a few sessions and streamed a couple of them like during the last like week or two.
Mm-hmm.
And like everything they added to the game, the way the game felt, how fun it was to just casually just play the game was great. Like I had a great time.
Me too. So, anyway, that's our spiel on XDefiant. Hope you guys all got to get your last few games in. I know Deception did. I did too. It will be missed. It'll be dearly missed. What else is going on in the gaming world that we can talk about? I really have not been paying attention. I started my new job this week, so I've been very like locked in on that. And then the whole XDefiant thing, that's been a big thing. Oh yes. So XDefiant. So not XDefiant. Warzone. Looks. Oh, this is good. This is big. Okay, this is pretty big. Deception kind of sent this to me, but we'll kind of talk about it. Deception, you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, this is something that like I had no idea about. Now I don't know if they'll keep this team or not after this. I know that they were trying. I know that these guys are gonna try for the World Series of Warzone, but I mean we have
and the EWC too.
They have a Warzone team again, which I mean, there's been guys doing stuff with OpTic for Warzone like the whole time. Like Z-Laner's been here the whole time. Like, but this team is like genuinely like this is OpTic Warzone. They're trying to go for the World Series of Warzone. And Z-Laner is teamed up with Jowo, which is really awesome considering not only is it cool to see Jowo rocking OpTic now, like he got signed to NRG back when, you know, OpTic was a part of NRG. And honestly, I haven't been keeping up with Warzone, so I really don't know if Oakley Boy is really good or not, but I hope he is. I'm sure he is if they picked him up, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I love seeing, you know, I don't think I've seen Joe Woe on you know, like having like a big name like him. I mean, he's like the movement guy of Warzone. He's been one of the OG names, you know, from
He's really good too.
From when,
like he has performed really well at World Series of Warzone with all the teams he's been on. So
yeah, so him being on OpTic, I think that's a great pickup. It looks like they're doing another 24/7 stream, for the EWC. They're gonna do 1 week straight, 3 Warzone pros and a special guest appearances. EWC qualifiers, Esports World Cup, ranked, and all the behind the scenes content. Streams begin in 1 hour. That was last week. Honestly, I probably could pick it up right now. Let me.
Yeah, they're still going right now.
Yeah.
But
we'll pull up Joe. Yeah.
One thing I will say is it is going to be really fun seeing World Series of Warzone on Verdansk again.
Oh, this is the last day of it. This is day 7 of 7. So we
We
caught
got
it right at the
14
end.
hours left.
Yeah. Wow. Dang. We caught this
But
right at the end.
it is going to be cool seeing them do World Series of Warzone in Verdansk again.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
So, I mean, good luck to them. I mean, good luck to everybody, honestly. I love seeing we'll talk more about the Esports World Cup as it gets closer. I actually probably sooner rather than later. I mean, it's coming up here in the next couple weeks, I think. You know, just
It's late June, and I think Esports World Cup is like right after that.
Esports World Cup. Let me see. It's from July to August. Period. So my birthday month. My birthday. I'm gonna be 22, dude, in like a couple weeks. Isn't that crazy? Wild. But we'll talk more about like the EWC and everything like that as it gets closer. We just like, you know, we'll dedicate probably an entire podcast just kind of like before it starts, just kind of talking about what to expect and all that fun stuff. But all the teams are really trying to get qualified right now and get everything kind of squared away, make sure they're all good to go. So, which is great. Great. I'm trying to pull up the website.
I mean, it might not be that great if Falcons just like
do what they did last time and sweep everything. Except for COD. Oh my god, I'm crashing. No! I'm doing the whole hiccups thing again. Doing too much. Hold on. Hold, please. Dang it, I hate when this happens. This happens all the time with my stream. I gotta get a new PC. I'm in the process. Don't y'all worry.
New PC go crazy, bro.
Yeah, literally, I need it so bad, dude. Oh, anyway, as you were saying. As you were saying,
I'm excited for World Series of Warzone.
Me too.
As long as, like I said, as long as Falcons don't just destroy everybody like they did last season. Last year, Falcons just like nobody could beat the Falcons. I don't think they won every game, I think. So that's kind of insane.
Yeah. Man. But good stuff coming. A great I don't know. I love the fact that the EWC is a yearly thing. Makes it great for, oh my goodness, if I could speak, please. Makes for a great summer of esports for us to consume as like esports lovers. But I don't know. I think the next few months in the esports world is gonna be pretty great. Pretty great. I'm still having adverse reactions to this bean challenge I've done. I'm like coughing up yicky stuff from it still. It's a real rough time.
And your PC's dying.
And my PC's, she's not loving this. She's not loving it. I'm also having adverse reactions from the what's it called? The bean. I keep like if I speak too much or I breathe weird out my mouth, like it like comes back up and I can like it like the essence is there. So there's that. Tonight's just not my night, apparently. Anything else? Let me pull I was gonna pull Twitter to see if there's anything else we can talk about. Which there always is. There's always things for us to talk about. We're professional yappers, you know. Nick Burks retires from competitive Apex. That was like the first thing that popped up.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because he really likes Apex.
He does.
I'm kind of surprised.
Did we talk about Priesta retiring?
Priesta retired? I didn't even know that.
Not Priesta. Who? Not Priesta. God dang. What's his face? The one that just retired from COD.
Attach retired.
Attach. Sorry, I don't know why I said Priesta. Please forgive.
Yeah, it's an interesting. The interesting thing about Attach retiring is now both of the. Now both of the entirety of the OpTic and FaZe teams that battled in Advanced Warfare are gone.
Yeah, that's crazy. And they were like, that's when the rivalry really
It's crazy because all throughout all the Jetpack games, those are the best two teams in the game, and they never played in a champs grand final against each other.
Wow. That would have gone crazy. That would have gone insane, especially with how
the
big
thing that
both the
I would have
organizations were at the
loved
time.
because, and the reason why I say this is because the FaZe team didn't really form until champs of Advanced Warfare after that happened. But it would have been amazing if they would have went a year early and moved champs to the end of the year, and then OpTic and that FaZe team played at champs and AW. That would have been insane.
That would have,
because after that FaZe team was formed after champs, and then after OpTic got Karma, it was almost every event in AW. It was OpTic and FaZe in the grand finals.
Yeah,
that was always a battle.
it's true. I mean, just like it's like an end. It's the end of an era. I mean, these players have been around playing since BO2.
Yeah,
BO1.
that whole era is basically over. I mean,
yeah, I think he was like one of the
the
last.
only player. There's only a couple people left. Like Slasher is probably like the biggest one that's left.
Yeah, I agree.
From that era.
Yeah, he's sticking it out. He's gonna go until he can't anymore.
Slasher and TJ are like the only two left, and they play on the same team now.
Yeah.
It's just and it's crazy because back then, Slasher and Teach were so young at that point that they couldn't even play for a couple years when the CWL first happened.
They would
because
they couldn't even go to events.
It used to be, and this is why that they did this. This is why the FaZe team that we talked about didn't form until after champs. There used to be a rule where people under the age of 18 could play in any event except for champs. So a lot of times teams would have prospects in their head that were 15, 16, 17, but they couldn't play at champs. So teams would get a team together for champs, and then they would immediately just somebody's gone, new prospect comes in, and now we get to see these 15, 16-year-olds be really good at the game.
Yeah, or and they would pick them up immediately.
Hook was in there too. FaZe really wanted to pick him up initially, because he was 15 at the time in AW, and FaZe picked him up as a sub for somebody during the 2Ks and 5Ks that they would run every weekend, which we need to bring those back, by the way. But he was really, really good back then. And so these guys, but when the CWL came in, you had to be 18 plus to play any event. These guys like Hook, Slasher, Teej, they had to wait a couple of years because they weren't eligible anymore.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's making room for the new era of players, which is it's just an end of an era. It's like one door closes, another one opens, and we see where things go. So I don't know.
It's just it's crazy because it's crazy how much different though that it's gonna be after those guys retire, because there was not a lot of people really think about this, but like there was almost in between like 2016 to like 2019, there was almost like nobody that came in that made a super big impact that's still in the league right now. So like the, whenever Slasher and Tej and Hook and those guys retire, there's not really gonna be anybody that was really good at like BO3 IW that's still playing. Like, so it's gonna go from the last of the true old guard before the CWL to like basically CDL guys only.
It's true. I mean, not very few of them know a world pre CDL and the pro level, other than like being underage and not being able to play in like champs. Like I think because
Yeah, because
Simp,
like Hook was really good, and then when the CWL started, he just went to go play Halo
yeah,
because he wasn't eligible.
and then like a BZ and Simp, I think were both around like 18 when they won their champ.
BZ and Simp came in BO4.
Yeah, I exactly at 18.
Yeah, they came in BO4, and that's what's crazy too is like those guys that came in like BO4 were coming up in like BO3.
Oh,
Like people, I remember watching like Courage, like when he was making YouTube videos. He would make YouTube videos about playing GBs, and he would be playing with Simp and Dashy and Illy when they were like 15.
damn.
Like,
A new
so it's
age.
crazy when those guys came in because I remember when Simp the first time that anybody really looked at Simp and they were like, this guy could be really good, is before BO4. They because now it's this basically happens like every year now, but like before BO4 they did some tournaments on BO3, some just fun stuff on BO3, and Simp played in those and he was really good. Like he was beating the pros that competed in BO3. And everybody was like, okay, this guy looks really good. He's gonna be scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congratulations to the people that are still with it, and congratulations to those that aren't, and were able to continue on and move on and do some other things with their life, outside of professional Call of Duty. I don't know. I think it's nice to see these transitions, especially just like on the overall like esports stage. Especially, I mean, esports has been around for like 30 years now, essentially. In the LAN and the professional, semi-professional to professional setting where people are playing tournaments and stuff like that for money. Um, I mean, there was still like, I mean, esports is much older. It's from like, I think it like originated in like the 70s. It's when like the first like esports tournaments were recorded for those earlier games. But I feel like at the paid level, I mean, it's really like a 20, 25, 30 year, 20 to 30 year lifeline. So I mean, people are retiring. I mean, Call of Duty is one of those rare cases where like the life cycle of players is very short. Like especially like games like Smash. Like I mean, people play for years. Same thing with like CS. People play for years. So I mean, there's a very high turnover rate. So when there's people that stay for a long
Yeah,
time,
I mean
it's
like you look at like Clay, he was like 30, he was like 30, 31 when he retired officially. And it's
yeah,
like, oh, that he's the oldest COD player.
yeah,
And then like then you have like then you like look at other esports and you got like that one guy that played CS and retired and he was 36. He played the game for 20 years.
yeah. Professionally, I think for 20 years or
I
like
mean, that's like we're looking
competitively.
at like that's like the career of a very good NBA player that was able to stay good for a long time.
That's a career of like someone that's like working at a business. Like that's like some people's like lifeline at like a job, or like they're like, yeah, I'll be at this career for 20 years. Like not you don't expect people to play video games for that long at that level. Like that's a full career at that point. not including the build up that it took to get there, which I think is very, very interesting, very special. I think it needs to be studied, honestly. Like study it, bring it in. I also just saw the reason why I say study is because Jake Lucky tweeted out. Hold on, I gotta find it back again. Hold please. I shall find it in like 2 seconds. Like the dedication that players have. The chokehold Call of Duty has its players and streamers in, no matter how bad the state of the game is, needs to be studied. Which, I mean, honestly, is true. I mean, like, these players, we're all so dedicated to the game because we love it. Yo, Sherma, thank you so much for the follow. Oops. It's, you know, it's because we love the game, and you can see that with these professional players. I mean, they love the game, they love competing, they love doing this, and they want to do it for as long as they possibly can. And some of them, you know, they retire in their prime, like Scump. I mean, I'm not gonna dock him. His career's still amazing. Like, he retired at, like, I think, like, the best time for him, because then he did the watch parties, and he's still relevant as a player.
Yeah.
But
he's still very good, though.
He still is. He's still, like,
there
he could
aren't a
still
lot
compete.
of CDL pros that could retire for a couple of years and come back. I think that if Scump went at the start of a game and took all the time he could to practice and scrim before the first major, he could join a CDL team at the major and they would do well. They would improve.
Yeah. Like, they would be a good team. And you know, not a lot of players do that, where they retire in their prime like that, or just at the, like, end of their peak, I'd say. But I think him doing that was very smart. I mean, it definitely worked well for his bank account, for sure, and his just brand overall. I mean, I think it's rare that you see someone, like, stop before they're, like, forced to stop. Because I think a lot of people, they were, like, especially players in the esports, they want to play esports and they want to do this for as long as they possibly can. Compete.
Well, that's a lot of athletes in general. It's just like anybody that plays sports, like the best players are like, they're going to play until they don't feel like they're good enough anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to play until they don't feel like they can compete. And even then, they'll still push it a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, you don't see that a lot, where they, you know, back down or retire before that moment comes, to where they're not getting put on teams anymore, or they're playing in, you know, the semi-professional leagues and stuff like that. So, I think it's just very interesting and a good thing to look at. But yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Not a lot of people retire in their prime. Scump was the one where I felt like he was probably just past his prime, but he definitely was not a situation where he wasn't good enough to compete anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And even, like, at the start of MW2, obviously he didn't play the whole season, so who knows how the story goes after that. But, like, he retired before, like, Major 2, I think. And he was the best player on OpTic and, like, a top 5 player in the league when he retired. Like, he definitely wasn't showing signs of slowing down.
Yeah. So, go him, you know. Go him. Go all of them. But I think, I don't know, I think it's really cool. And then, you know, now we're, you know, these newer faces. You know, I still look at like Ghosty, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's a rookie. No, he's not. He's been in the league like a minute. Like, he's in his third year. It's his third year out here.
It's just because, like, you see those guys come up and you're just like,
oh.
You still think of, like, when they weren't in the league yet.
Yeah. Like, Beans, I still think
it's the same thing with, like, Scrap. Like, I look at Scrap and I still think he's a rookie, and he's been here for 2 years now.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? I don't understand. I'm confused. I'm not really
like,
confused,
Scrap's rookie season was MW2, and we're all just like, we all just still think Scrap's a rookie.
Bro, what? Really?
And, like, you look at, like, Hydra's rookie season was Cold War.
I'm flabbergasted right now. Actually, I think we should stop this before I, have a crisis. It's about to be my birthday too, and I always have like a little mini crisis about how I'm getting old on my birthday.
I mean, Shotzi's rookie season was MW19.
Yeah, it was. Yo, I still look at him and I'm like, damn, he's like 16. Okay.
He still looks like he's 16, to be fair.
So young. Looks so young.
I think he's like nearly 22, and he looks like he's like.
Oh my god,
15.
we're like the same age. What? Him and Shotzi and I are the same age?
I think you are.
Shotzi, bro. Let's be friends. How old is Shotzi? I'm looking this up. Don't worry. How old is Shotzi?
He's older than you.
He's 23? Bro, he was born 2 years. Oh my god, his birthday's 3 days after mine.
See, I even underestimated his age by almost 2 years.
Oh my god, he's 23, almost 24. What? He looks like he's like 18. Scump is 29. Krim is 32. Nate is 32. Arcides is 26. What? I love
Arcides' rookie season was IW.
What?
Arcides and Pristini came in when with the United, and they were like the shockers of the early IW season.
Yeah, I look at Shotzi and I think, oh my god, him and I, like, he's a little baby, but he's not a little baby. What? Hold on, I'm looking. Dashy's 26? His birthday's today. Oh no, it's not. Just kidding. It just says as of. Never mind. Just kidding. His birthday's April 19th. Just kidding. Hold on.
Yeah, Dashy came in MBO4. Even though technically Dashy's rookie season was World War II, but he only played like a couple events.
Yeah. Anyway, I just think it's crazy how we're all getting older. I don't like it. It doesn't sit right with me. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about tonight's Deception for our first new time podcast? This feels weird. This is the first time we've ever not done a podcast. Actually, we have done a podcast later, but this is like the first time we're like moving the actual time. So, anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably be here for a while.
Yeah. So for those guys that are watching right now, either live or later on YouTube, our new live time for the podcast is 9 p.m. EST on Wednesdays. And then it goes live on YouTube the next day, Thursdays at 4 p.m. EST. So keep out for that. That is our new schedule moving forward for the foreseeable future, at least until the end of the year. Because of my work and school schedule, it just works out this way. I did my best. I did my damnedest to not have to change this schedule, because you guys know we've had this, the 12 p.m. EST since we started the podcast 3.5 years ago. But life happens, things happen, and your girl got a big girl job, so had to do that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Climb Together podcast. This has been episode 120. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys follow us live on you guys follow our Twitches at twitch.tv/tonage_scorp and twitch.tv/deception276. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube and watch some of the older episodes. I'm catching back up from my lapse of episodes during finals week. We're almost there. Yeah, Deception, say bye.
Bye.
We'll see you guys next time. Peace.